everybody. So in this video, I'm going to take you through the evolution and history of baseball gloves. You may have already seen this clip at the end of my last video, but I wanted to repost it as a standalone video because I know there's a lot of people who are interested in antique and vintage baseball gloves, but may not really watch or be familiar with like reselling flea market style videos. So hope you enjoy it. If you are interested in vintage baseball gloves and are finding me through this video, click the subscribe button, watch some of my past videos. All right, everybody. As promised, I'm going to take you through a pictorial evolution of the baseball glove. I'm going to put some values at the first few gloves. After that, the value becomes so dependent on brand, condition, player model that it doesn't really make sense to give you a price range. To start off, the first baseball glove was introduced in the mid-1870s, and it was a fingerless baseball glove as the one shown here. These were initially worn by catchers, weren't widely worn at the beginning. People didn't really consider it manly to wear a glove, but then they did catch on. Very, very rarely ever show up. This is the only glove style that I'm going to show that I've never handled. I got in a bidding war for one years ago, but if one ever does come up for sale, it's going to bring five figures, probably $10,000 to $15,000. Very, very scarce glove. Next, in the 1880s, was introduced the webless glove, or also called the workman glove. This one shown in the photo is called a webless crescent, given that crescent moon shaped pad in the palm area. The earlier version of the workman glove would have additional leather tips at the end of the fingers. Those are higher value. In general, workman gloves like the one I show in the image here are going to bring in the $2,000 to $4,000 range. But the leather tipped earlier workman gloves, are going to approach $10,000 if they come up. Then we have a crescent full web glove. These came to play in the 1890s. Again, they have that same crescent moon shaped pad at the palm. These, depending on condition, depending on brand, are generally going to bring in the $500 to $1,000 range. Maybe some a little bit more for high condition gloves. These are not to be confused with a later softball style glove that has a crescent pad. Those gloves have very little value, and either unscrupulous sellers or sellers just don't know the difference might list this as a crescent glove. Don't confuse the two. These gloves, you'll see the crescent pad is on the palm, but it extends up through the pinky. That is never the case with a true crescent pad glove. You'll see in the earlier true crescent glove, that pad goes from the thumb through the palm. The softball glove, the pad goes from the palm up through the pinky. Moving forward, we have the full web glove, and this is the glove I bought in the video here. These were used from about 1900 to the teens. Now this one is a Rawlings model. So for a full web glove, you have a piece of leather between the thumb and index finger that goes basically all the way down to the palm of the glove. Next in the evolution of gloves, we have a 1-inch web. Again, this web, about a 1-inch strip of leather running between the thumb and forefinger with a gap between that and the palm. This is also a glove that I picked up in this video. The 1-inch web gloves are basically used from the teens to the 20s. Next up, in the 20s and 30s, you had an assortment of different webbing between the thumb and forefinger. This one shown here is called a tunnel loop. You'll see the lacing between the thumb and forefinger goes between a little tunnel of leather on the thumb and forefinger. That's why it's called a tunnel loop. Then another glove I've bought in this video, a 1940s era glove. You'll see it has more of a leather strapping between the thumb and forefinger. This one is the last in the evolution of gloves to be called a split finger glove. And by that, you'll see between the pinky and the other fingers, there's no attachment, no lacing between the fingers. You'll see the next one, that changes. Moving into the 1950s, we have this Draper & Maynard Richie Ashburn glove. You'll see the lacing between the fingers. Again, no longer called a split finger glove. On to the 1960s, you have a variety of style webbing between the fingers there. This happens to be a Spalding Richie Dick Allen glove. And then going forward, 70s through the 90s, there was not going to be a dramatic change in gloves at that point during those time periods. The one on the left is a 1970s Matty Alou glove. The one on the right is a Ken Griffey Jr. glove. I hope you enjoyed this little run through the history of baseball gloves. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.